Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today, I'd like to welcome you to our Wealth and Wellness series. My name is Michelle Taylor, and I'm an advisor with Fairport and Luma Wealth. Just a couple of housekeeping items really quick. Right now, we have everyone's webcam turned off, so you can only see myself and Maria right now. And your mute is currently on as well. However, please note that you can actually ask questions or make comments in the chat box. We encourage all of you to do that because we will be stopping and looking at that and taking some of the questions that you have for Maria today. So please ask away. We're really excited to have Maria here today. Maria is a health coach and her company is called True to You Coaching. Prior to this life, Maria spent time in the corporate world before starting her own company, and she is also a strength training and cycle coach. I'm going to let Maria tell you a little bit how she ended up in this space. However, I would like to share with you what I love most about Maria, and it's just really her passion for what she does, her desire to help people on their terms, and really her philosophy of coaching. When we were having a sidebar conversation, she said how she approaches this is really taking the person and moving forward from this moment in time and how it will affect their future. Not really looking back at, what was everything that led you to this point. She wants to make sure that you spend a lot of time on where you want to go. And so it's really done with, I think, a lot of positivity and good feelings. So Maria, welcome. We're very excited to have you today.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here. I love our matching colors. Happy vibes on a rainy day in Cleveland, right? Welcome, everybody. I can't see you, which kind of drives me nuts. I want to be able to see your beautiful faces, but I'll try to deal with just the stuff in the chat. So I just want to say thank you to Luma and thank you, everybody, for being here. I think the reason that this kind of partnership, friendship has worked so well is that both companies take a holistic approach. People will ask me all the time as a health coach, kind of like, well, okay, how much time should I work out, or what should I eat, or, how much sleep do I need? But it's all of these things. There's no like magic pill or magic answer, right? So just a little sidebar. So here's what I want to do today. I think you guys all should have the handout. The handout is really, we might reference it. I think Annika's going to help us out and pull it up if need be. But if you all have the handout, I understand you might not want to print it out because it's 18 pages.
So it's actually also located in below the chat box. You'll see an attachment that says Fuel Your Health handout. So you can also open it from the presentation.
Perfect. So that handout is really designed to be a kind of a working document for our time together today. If you obviously don't want to print it, I totally understand, but please make sure you do have something to write with, piece of paper to write on, because I'm a big believer when we write things down, it makes a huge difference. Actually, when you write something down, you're 42% more likely to actually accomplish it. So like I said, we'll reference the handout, but it's really something for everybody to have as a working document. Maybe it's something you can even use later. So thank you so much again. Here's what I want to do. You talked about me becoming a health coach and me being in the corporate world before. I was in marketing for 13 years. And yes, what kind of, I kind of wonder how many people even know what a health coach is. So if you guys want to put in the chat, like what's a health coach, go for it. I have to be honest, before I was looking to become a health coach, I really had no idea. And the reason I got into this passionate profession that I'm in is that I was diagnosed at 24 years old with becoming more common, frankly, autoimmune condition called POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. What does that mean, right? So it basically means, they call it the fainting disease. So when you go from sitting or laying to standing, your blood pressure drops and your heart races to try to compensate for the autonomic response, so you don't pass out. So it causes a whole host of things. I remember driving to corporate America, and every day I would drive downtown and having to pull off on the side of the road to like vomit because it was an autonomic response. Mornings are really hard for people with this condition. You can't be in the heat. You have to drink a ton of water. Like you can't, I had a very severe form of it. Now, I also grew up playing soccer and being super athletic. I'm from a European family, like soccer's in my blood. I've lost 2 knees to soccer, 2 ACL replacements. So there was no reason why at 24 years old, I could not walk on a treadmill for more than 6 minutes without fainting. So when I went to my doctor at 24, he said, look, here it is. We found out what it is. Here is what the pamphlet I have to give you, right? On all this, here's your lifestyle changes, but also here's your pamphlet on long-term disability that I have to give you from the Cleveland Clinic because you're probably not going to have any quality of life, and this is how you file for it. At 24 years old, okay, you're telling me I'm not going to have a quality of life. So he said, my neurologist that I see that diagnosed me is also European, and he's like, now I know you're Hungarian blood. He's like, so go find a different way. Prove everybody wrong. And I said, okay. And so I had to become my own health advocate because there was no one. There was no one. This condition was very rare. No one even knew how to diagnose me for 2 years. I was misdiagnosed 5 times. And there was no help. I had to create the world that I needed to live in. And I thought, you know what? What do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? So I will tell you, when I am passionate. I'm a passionate person in general. I get passionate about things that don't even matter. That's my personality. But I'm extremely passionate about this because, and I think the last 3 months for all of us has been a really big wake-up call that if you don't have your health, if your people you love don't have their health, you don't have anything, right? We're in a pandemic. We're in a 100-year pandemic. So I put a little motivational quote in here. Annika, if you could jump to slide 2. I'm a big believer in little nuggets of information that can be impactful for us. So this quote of the day, and I hope it inspires you with our time today, but even beyond this, it is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold. Mahatma Gandhi, right? So that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. How do we fuel your health from the inside out? These are going to be things that you can do starting immediately to help you. I'm hoping to give you some things you can just start incorporating into your daily routine. So here's what I want to do. Everybody has the handout. You know my story. As a health coach, what I do is I take a holistic approach. Is it about workouts? Sure. Is it about nutrition? Absolutely. But there's this other really big piece called emotional, right? The emotional roadblocks that you hit. I mean, how many of you, if you want to put in the chat, how many of you feel like when you're stressed out, you go to a certain food? You crave carbs, you crave pasta, breads, maybe sugar. That's an emotional response, right? So you have to have a holistic approach when it comes to your health. You can't just say, I'm going to go to the gym more, or I'm going to just eat these certain foods. You have to look at the whole picture. So that's what I try to do and help people. So I'm wondering how many of you out there, if you want to put in the chat and comment, or if you just want to listen, but I'm betting most of us know somebody with either type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, or cancer, right? Those 4 things. And some, obviously genetics is a certain part of our predisposition to things, but the reality is about 80% of those chronic conditions are preventable through nutrition and an active lifestyle and a positive mindset. You got to believe it's possible. If you can't believe it's possible, you're not going to even try to work out or have the nutrition, right? So you have way more power every day to change your health and your wellness than anyone else. No one else can do it but you. So that's what I kind of want to hopefully inspire you to do today, is I really want to get people excited and ready to become their own health advocate. So if you want to jump to the next slide, I have this handout in front of me. I'm going to reference it to you. I'm putting this up here so you guys can all start to think about your top 3 health and wellness goals. Now, as I said, it's very important when we are thinking about goals, even think about your to-do list. You write it down. That helps you actually accomplish it, have a better chance of accomplishing it. So I want you to write down your top 3 health and wellness goals. The other thing is, if you feel comfortable sharing in the chat, maybe what are your top 3 health concerns, or the top 3 areas where you feel like you maybe need a little help. I don't know what it is, but I can't stop eating, white flour or chocolate or, whatever it is. So writing these goals down, remember, it makes you much more likely to achieve them at some point. So if you guys want to share, feel free. Otherwise, this is really the working document for you. So just write these down, and I will continue to say this a million times and you'll probably be so over it, but the power of writing things down is huge. So
I was gonna say, so some are like sleep, snacking, weight. So those are a couple that are coming through.
Awesome. Yeah, and I have to, a lot of the times when we think about our health and wellness goals, the first thing that comes to mind is what? Lose weight. Okay, I want you to be more specific than that. For example, your goals need to be specific and measurable and achievable. Okay, so I want to lose 8 pounds in the next 60 days. Okay, or I want to fit into my skinny jeans by the time fall comes around. Whatever it is, be very specific when writing these down. And sleep. I mean, better sleep is huge. We can even talk about that a little bit if you guys want. But writing down your goals, also understanding it's not always physical. Maybe one of your health and wellness goals is to slow down, to take more time for you, to start saying no to certain things so you can say yes to you. Maybe it's have more natural energy. Maybe it's not be as tired, like you said, sleep, anything. It can be anything. So awesome. I appreciate you guys participating. I'm going to actually open the chat so I can start to see some stuff as well. So we're going to talk about, we can jump to the next slide. We're going to talk about, really there's 4 pillars when we talk about fueling your health from the inside out. I broke this down into 4 main pillars. They're all right here for you. Everybody has the document they can read. We're going to dive into the power of real food versus processed food. Now, on each of your, on this handout, you all have additional handouts, which I'm hoping are things you can actually use and take with you. So the power of real food versus processed food. Does anybody know the definition of processed food? And if you can put this in the chat. So just say, what is processed food? Any of your thoughts, just go ahead and add it in the chat. Anybody? So processed food can be things that usually come out of a box, right? Processed food are usually foods that have way more than one ingredient. Most of them you can't pronounce or read or have never heard of. But the actual definition of a processed food is a food item that has a series of mechanical or chemical operations performed on it to change it or preserve it. Yum. That sounds delicious. No, that's not real food. Like, that's not even real food. Real food is about nutrition. You want to always think about what is the nutritional content of what I'm putting in my body. Not just is this bad or good. It's not bad or good. It's food, right? What is the nutritional content? So the definition of nutrition is actually the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So processed food examples are granola bars. I hate to say it. I've only found one clean granola bar. Costco's doing a really good job with a lot of their clean food and more organic stuff. But all the other stuff has additives, fake sugars, preservatives, things you don't need. Generally, if it comes in a box, if it comes in a bag, doesn't have much nutrition at all, or if any, and it's full of crap, frankly. So you want to avoid processed foods. Processed foods, the reason you want to avoid processed foods is because they are linked to, I mean, A, they don't provide you nutrition, B, they're going to contribute to health issues, right? But C, the specific health issues are not just weight gain, not just obesity, like we know that, right? But you're talking about things like heart disease, you're talking about autism, you're talking about autoimmune conditions, you're talking about cancers. I mean, you're talking about things that are life-changing, like lifelong, I'm on drugs, or I'm on, the quality of my life is directly impacted by putting this junk, this crap in my body. So I have to, encourage everybody as much as possible, shop the outside of the grocery store, okay? The fruits, the vegetables, right? The milk, we'll talk about that. The milk, the eggs, you wanna make sure it's like organic if you're gonna be consuming it. Dairy is one of the most contaminated food groups in this country. So you really want to make sure, a lot of hormones in that, you want to make sure it's organic, but you want to shop the outside of the store. The minute you start to zigzag down the aisles, and you know this, if you're buying foods for the grandkids, like the ho-hos, and I got to have these at my house, for the kids or my grandkids, they're right there in front of you. They're going to be a lot easier to eat. You guys know that when you go on the inside of the aisle, it's not the safest place to be at the grocery store. So general rule, you want to shop the outside. You also want to make sure you're, looking at your labels. So I'm going to jump to, if you want to jump to the next 3 pages of the handout are how to read food labels. Now, this is really important. It's not, I would encourage all of you to take a picture of this, keep it on your phone. So the next time you're at your grocery store, if you're looking at a box of something like pasta and you're like, is this clean or is this what's in here? Use this handout, it'll help you. So general rule when it comes to food labels is you actually don't want to start with the nutritional content. That's actually not the most important part. The most important part of that food label are the ingredients, like what's in it? What is in this thing I'm eating, right? My kids are eating, my grandkids are eating, whatever it might be. So you want to read the ingredients. I always tell my clients, if you read an ingredient and you, A, don't know what it is, B, can't pronounce it, and C, wouldn't take a spoonful of it and just eat it yourself, you probably, it's not a real food, okay? It's a chemical, it's a preservative, it's something that is not real. So you want to make sure you can read it. You want to make sure you understand like what it is, and that if you have something, it's something you actually know. For example, on the next page, there's some good examples of common preservatives. BHT, BHA, I think a lot of us have become more aware of this. It's usually in the cans on canned foods or the plastic lining on certain products. They're doing a better job. Manufacturers are starting to do a better job with this, but only because we, the consumer, are not buying these products as much. So you want to look for ingredients you don't recognize. For example, one of my favorite ones is like blue #2, or this one, red, red #3. Okay, you'll see that in Gatorade a lot. Like, when would you ever take a spoonful of red #3? Never. Why would you give that to your children, to your grandchildren? Like, give them water, give them water. Water is the basis of the human body. Over 60% of our bodies is comprised of water. Okay, so give them water. So look at your ingredients. Can you read them? Do you understand them? The other thing you want to always consider is obviously the serving size. You want to make sure a lot of times the serving size is much smaller than what we think it is, and that's how they're doing the nutritional label. But the other piece of this is, speaking of nutrition, what is the nutrition? Maybe it's not all about calories and fat and counting that stuff. What if it's more about nutrients? What vitamins are actually in this food? What is the nutritional content of what I'm putting in my body, or I'm putting in the body of the people I love? So vitamin A, vitamin D, calcium, those are the things you want to put good stuff in your body. The other thing I want to say is, let's all remember that we live in America. If all of us are living in America, we are the only country on earth where it is more expensive. It is 40 to 60% more expensive to buy grass-fed or organic meat here than the fake meat. Every other country, grass-fed, organic, all that stuff is cheaper, because if you think about it, they didn't have to put all the junk on it, so they didn't add any cost to it. So we have to understand, when we're watching commercials or we're seeing, Fruit Loops, they're fully balanced, or this says heart health on the box. These manufacturers do not care about your health. They are making money. They want to make money. They want to be efficient. They want to produce a ton of product, not food, and they want you to consume it. So until we all start to change how we consume food and what we buy, they're going to continue to win this battle. You're going to continue to find crap at the grocery store in boxes, red #3, citric acid, BHA, all these things. So we have that much power. You have that much power every day. Every time you go to the grocery store, you have the power to help them shift this. That's just my little personal note. Go ahead, Michelle, you got something?
Yeah, Maria, so somebody had put in a question in the box. Is there anything that would help with joint health, especially knees?
Yes, you want to get healthy fat. So think salmon, wild salmon. It has great healthy natural omegas in it, omega-3, omega-6. You want to have that in your body. It's going to help naturally lubricate your joints. Also stretching would help with that. Water. I mean, I cannot express enough the power of water. You guys should be drinking about 60% of your body weight in water. So take your body weight. So like, I'm 130 pounds. I think I'm supposed to drink 88 ounces of water a day, or 84. I don't know. I should check my math, right? But I actually take a water bottle, and this is 20 ounces, and I fill it up 4 times a day, and that's how I keep track of my water. So I would say for you, get in wild salmon, get in some avocado, any healthy fats, nuts and seeds, oils. We'll go over some healthy oils as well, and then water and stretching. So great question. Thanks, Michelle. Anything else?
Not right now. So if you do have questions, just please type that into the question box and we'll keep bringing those back to Maria.
Yeah, awesome. So feel free. The other thing I want to say is well, you know what? I'll bring it up in the next part. So any questions you?
Ooh,
yeah.
Sorry, another one just popped in. What is the brand of granola bar you had mentioned?
Ooh. Can I go to the basement real quick and get it, or do you want me to wait? I have one granola bar left. I think it's Autumn's Gold. I think the brand is Autumn's Gold. I will make sure that you guys have that information. I have to be honest with you, since this quarantine stuff, I've not been able to get it in my little Instacart Costco order, so I don't know. I haven't tried, I guess, in the last month or so. But it is all natural, it's clean. So yeah, it would be a great option. So I'll share that. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so any other questions you have, I'm going to try to pause at the end of each pillar. I think it's really important. The way that we learn in the human brain is we hear something, we write it down, we think about it, we have to get it out. We have to speak it. That's our learning cycle in the human brain. So when I was in corporate America, I hated those long meetings, and it was like 50 pages of a presentation, and they'd be like, hold your questions for the end. And I would be like, really? Like, that doesn't mean no one's going to even remember. I'm not going to remember why I wanted to ask that question. So ask your questions when they come to you. Do not worry about waiting till the end, unless you want to, obviously. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to dive into pillar 2. So you guys know now about the power of real food versus processed food. So let's talk about a balanced meal. Does anybody have any idea what it means? What is the definition of a balanced meal or a balanced snack? Like, what does that mean? You can put it in the chat. And I'll be honest with you, this is nothing I learned. A lot of the stuff I had the opportunity to get my health coaching certification from a great school, but there's stuff that this is something I learned on my own, and this is something a concept that I've applied to over 100 clients that I work with to get really good results. So there's going to be certain things I say today that I'm going to be like, write this down, or if there's one thing you take away from this part, it's this. This is it. Okay, balanced meals and snacks.
So they're saying all the food groups, is that pretty much a balanced meal?
Right? No.
You think?
No, but that's the thing, is we don't know what a balanced meal or snack is, and this is where a lot of people get hung up, because we're living off the land of the food pyramid. Remember that guy, the triangle? I got to have carbs, I got to have fat, I got to have protein, I got to have, but it's not, you're not that person every day. Your body changes every day. Every day your energy needs change. So my definition, that's probably why nobody knows it, because I think I made it up, but my definition is a balanced meal is actually eating the right combination of food for your body to meet your daily energy needs. Okay, so I want everybody to write that down. It's really important, and there's so much in there in that one sentence. So I'm going to say it again. A balanced meal is eating the right combination of food, the right combination, right? Magic plate, we'll talk about it. It's on the slide below. For your body's energy needs, because your body's different than my body. And every day, what your body needs could be different based on your activity level, based on stress, based on sleep, based on a million things to meet your daily energy needs, right? That changes. So what I want to give you today is actually one of, if there is a magic pill, I guess, in health coaching, this is it, okay? This is a balanced plate, my magic plate. So it's made up of every meal and snack. You want to have these 3 things. You want to have lean protein, you want to have healthy fat, and you want to have fiber. If you want to put in the chat, what are some examples of lean protein? Because I think sometimes we don't even necessarily know. We're not thinking about nutrition in this way. So go ahead and put in the chat, what are some examples of lean protein? And you can also put in there examples of healthy fat, examples of fiber, and we'll walk through this a little bit.
So eggs is coming up.
Yes, excellent.
Chicken.
Yes.
Fish.
Fish, yep. Yep, you guys might be even surprised. Spinach actually has a good amount of protein in it. Spinach and broccoli. So there are certain vegetables that have a good amount of protein. But general rule, you're looking at eggs, you're looking at wild caught seafood, you're looking at organic or all natural or grass-fed chicken. You can do red meat, but it needs to be lean, it needs to be grass-fed. You can do lamb, you can do turkey, ground turkey, you can do duck. I don't know, I don't eat duck, I never thought of duck, but you could do duck, but they're cute. I don't think I want to eat a duck, but you could do basically, it's more how is your food sourced? That becomes really important. So you actually can eat a ton, but also nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are what I call a superfood. They meet the lean protein, the healthy fat, and the fiber groups, all three. It's why people always say like, oh, have some almonds, right? That's all you need. Well, I need a little more than almonds on most days. But yes, so nuts and seeds are also another great one. One note about lean protein. Michelle, did you have something?
Yeah, one question too that I think is really interesting is somebody's asking, does it matter what country the foods come from?
So that is, yes, it does. Okay, so here's what I would tell you. Most other countries take care of their food much better than we do. So when you see tomatoes from Mexico, that's better than tomatoes from America. If you buy organic, they're not using preservatives and chemicals on that food. For example, when you go to Mexico, maybe you don't know this, but Kraft, the Kraft company, macaroni, Kraft, and cheese, right? You feed this to your kids, your grandkids, whatever. There's actually a separate recipe for America full of crap. I call it Kraft crap, okay? It has all chemicals. It's powdered cheese out of a bag, people. Like, that's not food, right? And it has all chemicals. When you go to Mexico, you can't buy that version. Kraft has a separate version from Mexico that has real cheese in it. It's clean. So they're willing to, because you know what? The Mexican culture will not buy that food. Europeans will not eat the way Americans eat. It's why a lot of other countries don't have the health issues we have. So I would tell you, the exception is you want to buy organic. Organic is general rule. If you're going to eat the food, right? So say a piece of fruit has a skin on it and you're going to eat the skin. So grapes, cherries, and apple, you want to buy that organic. Then it doesn't matter as much where the food comes from, which country, because you know the process of the FDA for organic certification is there is a standard that they have to meet, so there are no chemicals or additives in that. If you are going to consume something that has a skin on it, but you're not going to eat the skin, like an avocado, you don't need to buy it organic. A banana, you don't necessarily need to buy it organic. So the country does matter, but I have to tell you, no country on earth treats their food as disgusting as our country. So if you're going to buy something from America, you want it to be local or farm raised, all natural. Those are things you want too. Like there's this Buckeye salad blend I get at Heinen's, and it's like local farmed, no preservatives. That's another great option. You don't want like the big bag of Dole. Okay, the Dole lettuce, you don't want that. That's disgusting. Like you don't want any part of that. So buy local or buy from other countries. Buy the tomatoes from Mexico if they're organic, you know, things like that. I hope that answers it.
And what about the fish? So somebody was asking, you know, some of the fish that comes from the Orient and like the water. I know that there's some issues there and wondering how good that is for you.
Yeah, so I would tell you, fish is a hard line, I think, for a lot of us. So you have to pay attention to obviously what we put in our oceans. We put a lot of trash in our oceans. So there is mercury, obviously, in our oceans. And I think that's why wild seafood gets a really bad rap. But the reality is tuna is actually the fish that absorbs and kind of holds on to mercury more than anything else. Wild salmon actually has the smallest amount of mercury of any fish. And wild salmon truly comes from Alaska. It comes from Oregon. It comes from certain areas. It doesn't, you know, you're not buying fish from like Japan. We're not really buying fish from like, you know, that far away. And if you are, you probably shouldn't be because it's probably frozen. It's probably been in there for how long? You know, you want to eat fresh fish. You want to eat wild caught fresh fish. And here's why. As dirty as our oceans are, which is sad, they are still 10 times cleaner than what goes on in a farm raised situation. For example, when you buy farm raised fish, salmon say, it's pink, right? No, they dye it pink. Farm raised fish is I wish I had something to show you the disgusting color. I think I do. My water bottle. Farm-raised fish looks like graphite. You would never eat it. You would never eat it. If you went to a restaurant and you ordered it and they put this on your plate, you'd be like, that's not salmon. Salmon in the wild eats krill, eats some other things. So they have the natural color, the natural redness from their diet of being in the wild. So I always tell people, do not ever buy farm raised. The other thing is, every time you go to a restaurant, ask, is this seafood, is this shrimp wild? Is this salmon wild? And you, 9 times out of 10, I mean, Rocky River Wine Bar, farm raised. I can't even tell you how many restaurants you go to that you're paying $26 or something for salmon and it's farm raised. So answer to that, I would say, is you're still better off buying wild. Obviously, you want to pay attention to when there were some issues in the Gulf of Mexico with the gas spills a few years ago, the shrimp was contaminated. You did not want to buy the shrimp then. So you need to tune into what's going on with the oceans and buy your fish accordingly. I hope that helps.
Yep, great.
Okay, awesome. Cool, because that salmon was one of the things I want to talk about. So whoever asked that question, I think like we're in sync. You like kind of read my mind, so awesome job. So I'm gonna move on to healthy fats. We talked about lean proteins. Let's talk about healthy fat. Once again, nuts and seeds, right? Raw nuts and seeds, I should say, not roasted, not salted. That changes the nutrient density of those foods. So when you're eating roasted, when you're eating salted isn't as bad, but roasted, you actually end up doing some type of caramelization to the nut, and that gets stored as fat in your body. That doesn't get used for as much energy. So you want to eat raw nuts and seeds. Avocados are phenomenal. As long as you have a gallbladder and you can digest the fat that you're bringing in, it's great. Again, salmon has a kind of really good fat in it, but also the oils you cook with. And the oils you cook with are really important. You want to make sure you're using things like avocado oil, that's high heat. Olive oil is high heat. Coconut oil is another high heat oil. Now, anything under 350 degrees, you can use extra virgin olive oil, but you really want to leave that more for like salad dressings or maybe dipping bread, because at above 350 degrees, extra virgin olive oil becomes carcinogenic in our bodies. So you don't want to be cooking at high heat with that. So that's some healthy fat ideas. When you see commercials that say canola oil, it's 2 times better for your heart health than extra virgin olive oil. I don't know how they can say that. That's not true. That's straight up marketing and lies. I don't know how they can say that. It's not true. So that's oils. Last category is fiber. All right. So fiber usually comes from fruits and vegetables. You can get it from grains as well, but what you'll find is there's a lot of us eat way too many carbs, way too many grains. Our bodies actually don't necessarily need that much. Every body is different. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. So you have to play with it and figure out, are there certain days you're going to need more carbs depending on your workout? Yeah, there are. But you have to kind of play with that. Generally, you want to get fiber from your fruits and your vegetables. Okay, so we're going to move along. I do have a little page for you all after this one, where I want you to actually write down. Hopefully you're writing down some of the examples I gave you of the lean fat, the healthy protein, the fiber, because you're going to want to come back to those later to have some options on how to build a healthy, balanced meal and snack. When you do it this way, basically what you're enabling your metabolism to do is you absorb a ton of nutrients. Your metabolism kind of lights a big fire, and you get rid of the waste. So this is how you boost your metabolism. If you're looking to lose weight, create a magic plate. Whether it's a snack or a meal, create a magic plate. Sound good? Any questions on that piece? Actually, as you are asking questions, just in essence of time, I'm going to give you some examples. So please ask any questions you have on the second pillar here, balanced meals and snacks. An example of a balanced meal and snack would be, one of my favorites is a banana with some almond butter. Now, when I say almond butter or cashew butter, I mean straight like almond butter, cashew butter. So I have some here from Fresh Time. I don't know if you can see, it says fresh ground cashew butter. And guess what the ingredient list is? Cashews. Weird. Cashew butter from cashews. What a concept, okay? Other thing, this is another super awesome item, is sliced raw almonds. These can go on salads, these can go in anything, and they're much better texture and not so, I don't know, sometimes almonds to me taste like they're stale. So these sliced ones, it's a way to get around that. So an example of a balanced snack is a banana, cashew butter. An example of a balanced meal would be organic chicken or all natural chicken with green beans. So green beans, you would eat the skin, so you want organic green beans as much as possible. And you could add some sliced almonds while you're cooking them, the green beans, with some olive oil, whatever it might be. That would be an example of your healthy, your protein, right? Your chicken, your healthy fat is your oils, your nuts and your seeds, and your fiber, your green beans, okay? So that's an example. Any questions that came up?
Yeah, Maria, one was, can you actually use wheat germ oil instead of olive oil on your salad?
You know what? I don't know. I would have to look into it. Let me make a note. I mean, how does it taste? You can use any of the oils I said, like you could use any of the oils I had said, like avocado oil you could use on the salad too. Let me look into wheat germ. I would need to find out, to be honest. Sound good?
Perfect.
Excellent. So here's what I want to do. That is the end of your second pillar. So your next pillar, if you have questions, again, let's talk about it. But your next pillar is the power of nourishment. And when we say nourishment, we've talked a lot about nourishment from food, right? Nourishment from water. But we haven't talked about non-edible nourishment. This is really important. I don't know about you, but I have had my whole life a very emotional relationship with food. My dad is first generation. No, my dad is from Hungary. I came across the ocean when he was 21 years old. He was a freedom fighter. He fought communism in Hungary. He came over here, and I'm first generation Hungarian. My mom is Italian from New York. Her parents were from Italy. So our family was all about food. Food was everything. If we were sad, we ate. If we were happy, we ate. If we were everything in between, we ate. When I was 12 years old, I remember sitting at the table with my dad, and we're eating dinner, and he told me, eat, 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 because he grew up poor and he grew up starving. So he always wanted me to eat, eat, eat. And I thought he was the coolest person ever, and I wanted to impress my dad. I wanted him to be proud of me and love me. I would eat until I had to unbutton my pants at the table. And in my mind, at 10 years old, 12 years old, I thought, I'm full. That's when you're full. No, that's when you're over full. That's when you're stuffed, right? But I had this emotional thing with food. I wanted my dad's love. I wanted to make my dad proud. So I did it in the form of eating, overeating, to make him proud of me. It's portion control. I will tell you, till this day, every day for me is probably still my biggest struggle because of how I grew up. It has, you know, some days I do better with it. Some days I don't do great with it, and that's okay. That's the human element. I think we all have to give ourselves permission to be human. One of the things I would love for you all to take away today is, instead of judging yourself or being so hard on yourself about, oh, why did I eat that, you know, entire Twix bar? Like, I should have had something else instead. Be curious. Like, isn't that interesting that I ate that entire Twix bar when I had a salad that I could have eaten instead? I wonder why I did that. Where did that come from? Tune in. Tune into what you're doing. Don't just put food in your mouth. So non-food nourishment is really important, because from a young age, we're taught to nourish ourselves with food and drink and anything we put in our mouth. Think about it. When babies cry, the first thing you do, she's hungry, or he needs a binky, put it in his mouth. It's why you naturally go to the kitchen. You have to try to break that habit. And a way that you do that is you create a nourishment menu, a non-edible nourishment menu of things that nourish you, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally, but they have nothing to do with food or alcohol or anything, okay? So an example would be like going for a walk, reading an actual book, not an audiobook, because when you listen to an audiobook, what are you doing? Everything else probably, right? You're like multitasking. We want to slow down. So those adult coloring books, those are like my new favorite things. You can draw, you can paint, you could play a game, you could get a massage, you could plant or garden. That's therapeutic for some people. Listen to music, dance, anything that kind of lights up your soul and helps you slow down. Okay, that would be nourishment. Now, I want you all to kind of circle on your handout, this slide, we're on nourishment. Circle some things for you that are realistic. Like, oh yeah, I could do that. I could do that for like 10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day or 3 times a week. Circle some things. But on the other side, I want you to actually create your own. Are there things on your nourishment menu that you want to add? That way you have easy access to start incorporating these things after our time together today. But here's why it matters. Here's why it really matters. And this is really, really important. You know, we talked about some things I'm going to give you today that are really important. Write this down. When you are moving fast, like I am now moving fast, right? When you move fast, you are elevating your cortisol. You care about that because when you elevate your cortisol, you create a fight or flight response in your body. Cortisol is a hormone in your body. You need it. It saves your life. It either tells you things are getting real, you need to run and get out of here, so all the blood goes to your limbs so you can run fast, or it goes to your brain because you got to think quick. You got to figure out what are you going to do to get out of this situation. It's a life-saving hormone, but it's not designed in our bodies to be activated all the time. And what we have in America now is we have a low-level chronic stress state that we're living in. This can be activated if you are driving in rush hour traffic, which hasn't been an issue for many of us the last 3 months, right? If you got in a fight with your boss, if a client was just being a jerk to you, if your child is acting up, if you got in a fight with your spouse, if you're rushing from one thing to the next because you're trying to get a million things done, all of that is elevating your cortisol. The reason you care is 2 reasons. First of all, when you elevate your cortisol, your digestion drops from 100% down to 33%. 33%. That means it doesn't matter how much you work out or how healthy you're eating, you're not going to absorb the nutrients. Your brain is not going to feel like it had a meal. You're going to be hungry in an hour, and you're going to store everything as fat. The other reason you really care about elevating your cortisol is that you want to make sure that you're not creating a landscape in your body to open up yourself to heart disease, cancers, all types of health issues. We are not designed to live in a stressed out state. So slow down. Your non-edible nourishment menu is about slowing down. It helps you when you are able to slow down, you are able to nourish yourself, digest your food at 100%, have good energy, be in a better mood, curb your cravings. So many amazing things can happen. Now, I will tell you, this is the hardest thing for everyone. Every client I've ever had, me, myself, every day, the hardest thing is to slow down and give yourself permission to nourish yourself. So remember, every time you say no to someone or something, no is the most powerful word in the English language is no. No, I can't. No, I can't. Sorry. Every time you say no to somebody or something, you can say yes to you. If it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it's an opportunity for you to nourish yourself. So take this away, circle some things, and let's really get you to commit to actually trying to do them, okay? We'll talk about that later on. Any questions on nourishment? I know it's about 12:45, so I think I can get through this in about 5 more minutes-ish.
Yeah,
any questions?
We do have a couple. One is, are there any healthy chips out there?
Oh, I know.
Is there anything out there that you can eat?
Yes, you can make your own sweet potato chips. I have a great recipe. You can also make eggplant chips in the air fryer. Those are delicious. Zucchini chips. Everybody has to start getting comfortable in the kitchen. It's not, there's no workaround. If you're going to eat real food and you're going to buy real food, you have to actually put some love and time and energy into that food. You don't have to be in the kitchen all the time. You don't have to spend an hour or even 45 minutes, but use that as maybe a time for nourishing yourself. Cooking is one of my things. I love cooking. I put on my playlist. I have my glass of wine. I'm like jamming while I'm making my food. I get a little sidetracked sometimes. Make it fun to be in the kitchen. So I cannot tell you that any of the chips that come out of a bag are healthy. No, they all have canola oil or safflower oil or sunflower oil. Those are all very processed. So I do have recipes for sweet potato chips, though. I'll write that one down. What else?
As you're doing that too, there was another question, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this right. It says, thoughts on spirulina chlorella?
Spirulina chlorella. Yeah. I am not. I guess my question would be why? Why? Like, what are you hoping to accomplish with it? I guess would be my question. I feel like I'm not entirely convinced that's something we need, but I would probably want to talk to that person about why they're taking it. What are they hoping to achieve? definitely supplements can be a good thing. Magnesium is a really good thing. Vitamin D, that's proving to be a huge thing in COVID with your autoimmune system is vitamin D. Vitamin C, that boosts your immunity. But I think there's a lot of misinformation like wheatgrass. You don't need wheatgrass. The human body cannot digest chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is in plants. The human body can't digest it. You're paying a lot of money to just go to the bathroom to taking it all out. So I would have to look into it specifically more and ask, I guess, what they're hoping to accomplish. But in essence of time, maybe it's something we can connect later.
Later. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, cool. Is that it? Okay, awesome. So here's what I want to do in essence of time. Any other questions? Again, we can go over them. I just want to be respectful of everyone's time. The last pillar, an active lifestyle. So when I think of an active lifestyle, I think of two things. I think of movement and I think of exercise. And what's the difference, right? Movement is probably things you actually don't really give yourself credit for that you're doing. Going for a walk, cutting the grass, vacuuming your house, not with an iRobot, that doesn't count, but like actually vacuuming, right? If you're doing laundry and you have multiple floors, you're going upstairs, that's movement. Dancing, light yoga, stretching, those are examples of movement. Our body wants to move every day. Our body is designed to move every day. It doesn't mean you have to go crazy in a spin class for an hour, 7 days a week, but you need to move. You need to get up from your desk, take a lunch break, and include a 20-minute walk, or a morning walk to start your day, or an evening walk to wind down. Walking is also a really great way to nourish yourself. Now, exercise is more vigorous. Exercise is more focused on really getting your heart rate up to a level where you're going to benefit your health and your wellness at a physiological level. So you're thinking about running, biking. I'm a spin teacher and I teach boot camp classes, so I'm biased there. HIIT workouts, elliptical, playing tennis, anything like that. Also yoga, if you were doing like hot yoga or something like that, that could be exercise as well. And how many times a week you should exercise really depends on what your goals are. What are you hoping to accomplish? Now, these are examples of cardio exercise mostly, but there's also strength training. And when it comes to how people ask me all the time, Maria, how many times a week should I be doing cardio? How many times a week should I be doing strength? You need to cross train. You do need to do both. You can't just do cardio and you can't just do strength training. You need both to have healthy bones, but also a healthy heart and healthy muscular system. So I always ask people, it depends what you're hoping to accomplish. So if you're hoping to lose weight, you can do cardio, but that's going to be endurance. You're going to go through some calories, but it's going to be endurance. It's not going to get you where you want to go. You really want to lose weight, you got to strength train. You got to strength train and build long, lean muscles, because that's going to increase the more muscle you have, the less fat you have, and the faster that metabolism burns. So it would depend what you want to accomplish. I would say general rule, you want to move your body every day. From a cardio standpoint, this is all general. Everyone should listen to their own intuition and think about their own goals. So this is just general guidelines. 5 times a week for 30 minutes, cardio. You want to get your heart rate up, okay? Strength training is a little trickier. Anywhere from 2 to 5 times a week, depending on what type of strength training you're doing. You want to make sure you do have some rest days in between. The lactic acid is really going to make those muscles burn. But if you want to maintain where you are and not change your body, strength train twice a week, okay? If you actually want to start to see a change and a transformation in your body, tighter muscles, smaller waists, you need to strength train 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week. That's where you start to see a transformation. So those are just general guidelines. The other thing to remember is exercise. I mean, the benefits of an active lifestyle are well documented. You have increased energy. It helps reduce your stress by releasing dopamine in your brain. It also helps manage your cortisol levels, which we talked about are really important. It speeds up your metabolism. It helps you lose weight, but it helps with restful sleep. So many benefits to moving your body and having an active lifestyle. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, one is, as we age, are there supplements that we should take even though we're trying a good food intake? So is there anything else that we might need just because we're starting to get older that's sometimes hard to get in a day through our food?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I know a lot about nutrition and food. So you would need to consult with your physician based on whatever your individual health situation is and your goals. But I will tell you, as a woman, I think we have a lot of women on the call. As we age, magnesium is big. Taking your magnesium at night will actually help with a good bowel movement in the morning as well, but it helps restore muscles, it helps you sleep. So magnesium, you want to make sure it's highly absorbable. There's a brand called Solgar, S-O-L-G-A-R. It's magnesium citrate. That's what you want to get. So I would say magnesium, vitamin D, especially for the women, osteoporosis. A lot of us are prone to that. I'm half Italian. It's big in Italian culture. My mom has it. My aunt has it. So vitamin D, calcium, as we age becomes really important as well. But you really want to test your levels. Make sure you need to know how much of the supplement you should be taking. I also always include a daily probiotic. About 80 to 90% of your immune system lives in your gut, So if you don't have a healthy gut, nothing else in your body is going to be able to fight the way it needs to. Obviously, living in a time of a pandemic, I would take a probiotic. I think the other one is you want to make sure you're drinking enough water. I mean, that's super important. But yeah, I think talking to your doctor about specific needs, or what I'll often do with clients is if they're feeling like something's off, I'll say, go run blood work, ask them to test these specific things. Iron is another big one. If you live in Cleveland, you are most likely vitamin D deficient, but iron is another big one. But you can also cook in an iron pan and get your iron that way, as crazy as it sounds. My dad taught me that from the old country. So yeah, I would say you have to consult with your doctor, but I'd be happy to help. And those are probably the main ones I would say. Anything else?
Not right now.
Okay, awesome. We got about 8 minutes. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So the last little part of this that I'm actually going to spend any significant amount of time on is what I call action items. And I have to tell you, my whole life, since I was a small child, people were like, you should be a therapist. You should be a therapist. Well, no. I have spent, since I was 18 years old and I'm 38 now, I've spent my life between those time periods in and out of therapy. I love therapy. I'm a big believer in understanding, why do I feel this way? How did I get here, right? The difference between therapy and coaching, all right, is that similar to what you said, Michelle, in therapy, you kind of look at, here you are now, and what's all the stuff that happened to get you to this moment. Like you dissect, you dig in, it's uncomfortable, right? But coaching is all about, yeah, we all have that stuff, but who cares? You can't change it. Dive in and do your hard work for sure, but don't let that past take away your future. Where are you now and where do you want to go? And let's create some action items to help you get there. So anytime I'm in therapy, I am always like, okay, what's my homework? And they're always like, well, you know, like talk about your feelings and like journal and like maybe get a self-help book. And I'm like, so lame. Like I'm trying to change things around here. Like I'm motivated. So I love action items because that's exactly what action items do. Action items are specific. I created 4, it's 3.5 for you, because they're going to help you make action. We can talk today. You can hear all the words, you can write stuff down, but if you don't act, what did you do it for? Action is where it's at. You know, you have to back it up and actually do the work. So your first action item I'm giving you is under balanced nutrition action items, there's actually 2. One is I want you to create a healthy snack. I gave you some examples of what that would be, what some foods that would be, and I even gave you an example of the banana and the cashew butter. But I want you to actually eat it. I want you to try it in the next 7 days. Right? Action items are all about a time frame and you're held accountable. If you're going to work with a health coach, I'm going to ask you, how did your action items go this week? What did you accomplish? If you didn't accomplish them, why not? What happened? No judgment, but let's ask, like, what happened? Okay, how can we work around that? The other part of that action item is I want you to do the same thing. I want you to build a magic plate for dinner or lunch, and I want you to actually try it. Now, I've given you some recipes. We don't need to jump there just yet. But I've given you some recipes in here, so you'll have examples. If you need help, try them. They're in there for you to try, so please just try them. Second action item, nourishment, non-edible nourishment action item, right? Hardest one, guys, hardest one, most important one, cortisol, bring her down, bring her down. So I want you to actually commit to doing at least one of your nourishing activities over the next week. And I want you to commit to how many times will you do that nourishing activity. I will tell you, I do something nourishing for myself every single day. Yesterday it was a bike ride. Today it might be taking a walk, another walk, reading a book a little bit. Commit to that and actually do it over the next 7 days, okay? And then tune into how that feels. How nice does it feel to slow down? And just have some time for you, right? You're giving so much to everybody else. What about you? And last but not least, an active lifestyle action item. So it would be awesome if each of you could choose at least one item from either your movement or your exercise menu. So I gave you some examples, but of course, add your own and actually do it. Commit to doing it 3 times over the next 7 days. And I want you to tune in to when you do these action items, how do you feel? How do you feel? How does it feel to eat that balanced snack? How does it feel to eat that, to move that body? How does it feel to slow down and relax? Tune in, okay? Your body is not here to work against you. Your body, we're not understanding what our bodies are trying to tell us because we've farmed out all of our intuition to Fitbits, to food manufacturers, to diets, all of that stuff. Tune in. Your body is not your enemy, it's your friend. So speaking of recipes, everybody, the next one we actually have, oh, there it is. 3 different recipes. One is a balanced snack. It's your chocolate frosty smoothie. I have it every day. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Fat, fiber, protein. Your second one is a squash burrito bowl. I gave a vegetarian option, but if you're a meat eater like me, add ground turkey. You can add chicken. You can add ground beef. Okay, lean, organic, all natural. Those are the things you're looking for. And last but not least, people say all the time, Maria, I need a dessert. Like I can't eat clean and I can't like lose weight or be healthy and eat dessert. Yes, you can. Here's a great recipe, the chocolate avocado mousse recipe. You put these ingredients in a blender, healthy fat, fiber, protein. If you add some almonds on it, especially, it's amazing. So I encourage you all to actually, I wanted to give you takeaways. I wanted to give you things you could actually start trying, inspiring you to really invest in your health. So last but not least, I did include, for anybody that joined us today, I want to thank you for taking the time, but I also want to include a special offer for anybody. I'm all about action, like make it happen. Nothing in this life changes unless we commit to changing it, and you have to take the action. So special offer for anybody here with us today is a free 30-minute discovery call. So a discovery call is where you and I, we jump on the phone, we chat about your health goals. What are you hoping to accomplish? Where are you currently? What have you tried in the past? But then we also talk about what are some steps you can take to start to make the progress to have the health that you seek. So I hope this was helpful. I do want to give the last 2 minutes for questions. Anybody have questions? Now's the time. Shoot them out. Cheers.
Yeah, one is a lot of times people will say, like if you go to a nutritionist and you're trying to lose weight or something like that, they're like, no more alcohol, no wine, can't have it. How do you feel about that?
Well, as a European, I can tell you I drink almost every day. That might seem excessive. I drink wine with dinner almost every single night. Now it's a glass or 2. I also love Tito's. I'll do Tito's with lemon and lime with water. And I don't do that every day, obviously, but you need to, the reality is no, okay? Now, if you're drinking beer every day, are you going to gain weight? Yep, you sure are. It's a lot of carbs, it's a lot of gluten that creates inflammation in the body. There's no way you're going to lose weight drinking beer every day. Why? The general rule is you want it to come from the earth, okay? So the drier the wine, the less calories, the less carbs, the less sugar. You want to be aware of how much you're drinking, of course, and why. We don't want to use it as a coping mechanism. But the other thing is with liquor, the clearer the liquor, generally the more clear it is. So vodka, your white tequilas, those types of things. I am not a person who lives in deprivation, and I do not coach anybody that way. I will never count calories. I will never be on a diet. I will never give up my alcohol. I won't. I won't give up my food. Like, I don't believe I have to live life that way. And frankly, I've lost, now it's 20 pounds in the last 3 years. Everything I shared with you today, that's how I live my life. That's what I do. I don't do anything crazy, and I've lost 20 pounds. And I think I was probably like 146 pounds, 148 pounds, and I'm like 128. So no, don't count calories. That's the thing I don't like about nutritionists is, sure, they say you can have that ranch dressing, but as long as it's within your calorie intake. No, you can't. It's full of junk. You don't want that stuff. So I would encourage you to tune in and have more what I call an intuitive relationship with your body. Put good stuff in your body. And if you want to have that wine, okay, have that wine. Don't drink a bottle, but tune in, enjoy it. Make sure it's, it's serving you. So great question.
Awesome. Well, so far I don't see any other questions in the chat, but Maria, just want to thank you so much for being here today. It's such an inspiration to have you, especially as we've gone through this unusual time, I think, in our lives. We've had these like 4 or 5 months where we've been in this new space, and it's going to look like it's going to last a little longer. So this has been a nice opportunity to hear from you on some things of what we can actually do to make change in our lives that are positive. So
awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And like you said, regarding these times, these are very challenging times, but it's also the biggest opportunity. People say, I want things to go back to normal. Why? How about we create something better? How about we start creating things that are better health, better relationships, better opportunities, better connections. So I encourage you, last thing I'll say today is create the health you want, because only you can do it. You have all the power. So thank you so much for having me. I hope people are still awake, and anybody needs anything, just let me know.
Thanks, Maria.
Take care.